Are you neglecting exercises like this? Well, today, let's change that. Maintaining your strength as you get older can be tough, especially if it's been a while since you've done any strength training or if you've never done it at all.
But if you watch to the end of this video, we're going to show you 3 key exercises that you can't neglect if you're over 55.
A lot of our community members tell us how hard the push-up is to master. But the push-up is perhaps one of the best bang for buck exercises for your upper body strength. So today, I'm going to give you a few push-up tips so that you can build strength in the pectoralis muscles in your chest, the deltoids in your shoulders, the triceps at the back of your arm, and your abdominals. If you stick with the push-up, you'll be able to get on and off the floor easier and do heaps of your daily tasks with ease. When it comes to the push-up, people often make the mistake of thinking, well, I can't do the full push-up, so why bother? But luckily, there are multiple variations of the push-up, and you just need to find one that is manageable for you. So the first push-up variation, the most manageable, is going to be on the kitchen bench. So imagine this is the bench. To do it, your hands are on the corner, the edge of the bench. You're going to stand back until you're in a nice straight plank-like position, and then all the movement is lowering your chest down towards the surface and then pushing back up. Your hands are somewhere shoulder width apart, bending at the shoulders, bending at the elbows, down towards the bench and pushing up. Now, if that is too easy, too manageable, we're going to try a different variation and we're going to go on our knees and on a couch. So to make the push-up more challenging, we're down on our knees on a cushion for comfort and we're here in front of our nice comfy wooden couch. We're doing the same thing here, hands on the edge of that couch, lowering your chest down towards the edge and pushing back up. Now, the biggest mistake that people do in this position here when you're on your knees is they leave their hips backwards and they just lower their shoulders down towards the couch. But if we're trying to make it challenging, we're trying to get enough load through those structures, we need to bring the hips forwards and then pivot on those knees so that we have enough weight through those shoulders and those muscles that I talked about earlier to make them nice and strong. But speaking of strong, if that's not quite hard enough, we're going to get down onto the floor. So a more challenging variation of the push-up is now with our hands on the floor, still with our knees on the cushion, but now we're lowering our chest down towards the floor and then pushing back up, keeping in mind that we're still trying to keep our hips forwards in the same way we were there with the couch. Now, there are 2 things that people often struggle with the push-up, and one of them is shoulder pain. So here's a few things that you can do to make it a bit more tolerable for you. The first is going to be to vary the width of your hands. So I said before, somewhere shoulder width apart is a good place to start, but feel free to try a wider grip from there, or perhaps a narrower one as well, to see what works for you. You can also change the orientation of your hands, which will change the position of your elbows. So same thing. If you turn your fingers inwards, your elbows will flare outwards, and that might be a bit more tolerable for your shoulders as well. The other main issue that people report is wrist pain. Okay, so a couple of really good solutions for that are, first of all, to use some dumbbells. So if you've got a couple of big ones lying around, pop them on the floor, and this will keep your wrists in a more neutral position. So you're still holding onto those dumbbells, still lowering your chest down and pushing back up. If you don't have any dumbbells lying around, you can do a bit of a makeshift version with a towel. So you can roll the towel up like so, and that will help to keep your wrist in a more neutral position as well. So there are a couple of solutions for the push-up and a number of different variations. We want you to try to find a variation which you can do 3 sets of 10 challenging repetitions. Now, challenging is a number of repetitions where after you've done 10, you feel like you've got about 2 or 3 more left in the tank.
The second exercise that you cannot neglect is the split squat. And this one is challenging because you're lifting a lot of body weight on mainly your front leg. But this can build strength in your quadriceps, the gluteal muscles in your buttocks, but also your adductor muscles on your inner thighs. And if you get strong at this movement, it'll make a lot of tasks easier, such as getting up off the floor, walking upstairs, getting out of the car, or maybe even getting down in the shower to clean. All right, let's show you what the split squat looks like. So we're taking a nice split stance and then dropping down towards the ground. Now, a lot of people think this is a super advanced exercise and that you always need to go to get your back knee to the ground, but that's actually not true. So here are some tips to make it a little bit easier when you're first starting off. Tip number one is to hold on to something for support. Okay, let's make things easy to start so you don't have to worry about your balance. You can just focus on the legs. And now, second tip is to reduce the range of motion. So you don't have to go all the way down to the ground like that. You could just do a half split squat just like that. Okay, so just pick a range of motion which suits you, and you can build up over time to hopefully get closer and closer to the ground. Now, another tip is to play around with your stance length. So, some people like to be nice and close, but as you can see here, for me, that's a bit hard. So I might take a bigger step out to start. It means I don't have to bend over at the torso as much. Okay, so you can play around with these different tips to make it easier for you. Now, I recommend starting with 5 to 10 challenging repetitions on each leg, and you can do 3 total sets of that.
A lot of people over 55 say, I'm really stiff. What stretches can I do to help? Well, it turns out that strength training is actually a better solution than stretching for stiffness. Not only will it improve your flexibility, but it will also help to build strength and improve your tolerance in challenging positions. One of my favorite exercises for this is the Romanian deadlift. This is a movement that will help to build strength in the erector muscles in your back, in your glutes, in the hamstrings at the back of your thighs, and to improve your grip strength from the muscles in your hands and your forearms. Just a quick note. People often neglect this one because they think that they shouldn't lift with their back. But on the contrary, our backs are built to lift. And the more that we practice and build strength in these structures, the more capable we will be for our daily life. All we need to do is start at a manageable level and slowly build up over time. So here's the Romanian deadlift. All you need is a weight, and the movement starts at the top. You're going to lower the weight straight between your legs, sticking your bottom out and lowering your chest down towards the floor. We're not going to go all the way to the ground. Once we feel like our hamstrings are really tight, we're going to stand back up. Okay, so this is what that looks like from the front. The weight is coming straight between my legs there, bottom out, chest down. But what do we do if we're not quite there? Well, we're going to reduce the weight. Okay, and you can reduce it quite significantly. You could just use a broomstick or a tissue box or whatever you have lying around the house. And this is just getting us used to the movement. So with the broomstick here, you're just going to slide it down your legs, again, sticking your bottom out and your chest down like so. The second tip is going to be to reduce the range of motion. So you don't need to go down all the way to your ankles. In fact, if you're a bit stiff in your hamstrings, that'll be quite challenging for you. You might just want to go to your knees or just past your knees and then standing up like so. And one more thing. You don't need to do this with a perfectly straight back. In fact, technically, it's impossible. So it's okay to bend your back, and it's okay to twist and move a little bit, as long as you start at a manageable level and build up over time. In fact, doing this will probably make you a bit more capable of tackling those challenging positions in your everyday life. Okay, so find a variation which suits you and try to do 10 challenging repetitions for 3 sets. Now, if we're being honest with ourselves, the biggest neglect is not one individual exercise, but rather it's sticking to an exercise program.
So if you're struggling to keep at it due to pain or injury, maybe a lack of time or motivation, or maybe you simply don't know where to start, well then why don't you try one of our completely free physio-led strength, balance, or cardio workouts. You can find all of them on our completely free Be Mobile online platform, and there is a link in the description, so make sure you check it out.